Okay, it's 9 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Let's start. Uh, mm, some introductions. I hope you can see me. Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. My name is Marahim. I'm a fourth year biochemical engineering student from Kuliah of Engineering. Welcome to our workshop. It's about introduction to Jetpack Compose. Today you'll be learning how to make apps using UI libraries made by Google. This workshop is being hosted by the Google Developer Student Club IIUM. So check it out. Check out their Discord channel, social media, DSC IIUM in LinkedIn and also Instagram for more information, and to join our future programs. And so let's get started. So Jetpack Compose, it's a UI framework, and it means that it's a collection of libraries, methods, and also a mindset on how to build modern Android application. So it's declarative and functional. It relies on function. That's why it's functional, and it's declarative. It means that you tell the app or the computer how you want what you want in the app to look like, the buttons, text, and all. It's powered by Kotlin, which is a fantastic first class language made in collaboration with JetBrains and Google. It's first class, so it's officially supported by Google. Yeah, so if you use Java before, you should try Kotlin, and through Jetpack Compose, you will probably have the similar experience to developing apps using Flutter and React. So just a few definitions. Like I said, declarative before. In declarative, for example, like HTML, SQL, you tell the computer, I mean something there. You tell the computer or the application what you want. And imperative, the imperative way is you tell the computer how you want it. So you have to describe it in a way that you want it. So it's a bit more complicated in my opinion compared to declarative. So this is sample code. This is how you write code in Jetpack Compose. As you can see the picture on the right. Yeah, when you click on the on this card or UI, it will show. Click, and then you show Jetpack Compose, and the way you write it is on the left side code. So it's very simple, it's very easy, it's very short and simple, and you get this interactive UI component. So Jetpack Compose is a part of the Android Jetpack library, which is made by Google to make your Android application to develop faster and easier. So you have a lot of all types of libraries, data, graphics, for example, to draw stuff, performance test, security. Beyond phone is like, for example, Android Watch. What else? The car dashboard. Yeah, you can build using these libraries, to make your life easier. And this is the what you call it? This the example of the libraries. So you have biometric. If you look at the bottom, you have libraries to communicate with the fingerprint sensor, device credential, and to perform cryptographic operation. You can use through this library. You can interact with your fingerprint scanner to do awesome stuff. So you can use Android Jetpack library to build your killer app, or maybe people say the next best thing. And before this, I said about declarative. So in other UI frameworks and platforms, you have Flutter and React Native. As you can see, on the Flutter side, you want to create a button. You just say, okay, hey, I want a button, and I want to be red, maybe some splash colors. And splash means that when you click on the button, it has an effect, and then when I click it, you see on the on press code, see on press, and it says, and then you can put whatever you want. and then the child, and then you want some text in the button, and you say child, and then the text, and then you put whatever you want. Same goes for React Native or React. So you have the button markup text, and then you put the on click event to do whatever you want. So you just say, hey, I want this, and then and you just describe this and this and this, and then that's how it looks like. Pretty much the same as in Jetpack Compose. It's declarative. You declare it. You tell what you want. So why use Compose? First of all, it's a modern native toolkit. Native means that you have fast performance compared to Flutter and React Native, because Flutter is for cross-platform. It's not really built for Android. It is for how do you say? It's more native. Is your app is optimized to run on Android, so you have fast performance, smaller app size, and also if you ever develop using Flutter or anything, it's not easy to access the hardware such as camera or fingerprint scanner, because it's not native, so it doesn't really have direct access via the operating system to all of those hardware APIs. And because of the ease of doing Jetpack Compose, it accelerates the application development and UI development. It produces less bugs and easier testing, because you can you declare because you can make reusable components. So it's an advantage, because an advantage of Jetpack Compose is that it's much easier to do unit tests. If ever you do testing, because you can just take out the components, the UI, maybe the button, the text, take it out, and then put it in the unit test it, and see how it does. So it's much easier now with Jetpack Compose. And then because it's reusable, you can use the same component. For example, a button that does something, but maybe you want it to do a different thing. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can reuse it between application, maybe in another page. It's reusable. That's the amazing thing about Jetpack Compose. And so, how to start coding with Jetpack Compose? The first thing you need is the latest version of Android Studio, because it has the latest version of Kotlin, and also the latest version of Jetpack Compose. It's much easier. I will show you later after the presentation. I will show you like hands-on demo. And then you also need a computer, of course. You can run Android Studio. It's available on Windows, Mac OS, and also Linux. Yeah. So this is Jetpack Compose in action. So if you want to create a component, for example, you just want to say to print a text, hello world, you need to create a function. So as you can see, the fun keyword, which is a function, and then the name of the function, greeting. You can put optional arguments inside, and then inside the function you have these UI components like text, buttons, that draws the component. For example, as you can see, you have this text here, and then hello name, for example, and then when you call the function, you get hello world. And composable are pure function, which means that pure function means in the functional paradigm, you give an output, you get an input. You give an input and then you get an output. Yeah, so there's no funny business in when you run the functions, but you can, through some exceptions, have side effects. For example, you can make a component call data from the internet or something. Yeah, there's a few ways that you can do that. It's possible with Jetpack Compose. And also, yeah, when you because it's a function, and it's a function, you can pretty much copy and paste it everywhere in your code for reusability. For example, you don't have to rewrite the component again. You can perhaps just call it. You can put the code in a single file, For example, you want to use it multiple times, you can create a utility class or maybe file, and then just call the function there, and then it will draw and stuff. And then you can make it more, maybe you can compose more complex components because it's just functions. It's easy. And also remember to put this annotation at composable. It tells the compiler, oh yeah, this is for drawing the UI. So first things first, you create a function, you give it a name, whatever name, and then you put the components inside the function. For example, tags, buttons, any type. Maybe you can create your own custom components, and then remember to put the at composable annotation. Yeah, for to symbolize that to the compiler. Yeah, I want to use this as a composable. So before we continue with the hands-on demonstration, do you guys have any question from the audience? Let's give maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So you can just open your mic and ask away. Any question? Anything you don't understand? Maybe I don't know why use it and what's the
Yeah, why use it instead of like Flutter?
it's um well, that's a good question. Thank you. It's a modern. It's because it's native. It's native to Android. For example, if you specialize in Android apps, you want good performance. Because the thing with Flutter and React Native is because Flutter might have good performance, React Native might have good. It's less performant. But the thing is, when it comes to performance, native doing stuff natively, still if you aim performance, is still important. And also, for example, if you want to use the camera, the fingerprint sensor, yeah, it's much easier. It's much easier to access the hardware through the hardware APIs via the operating system compared to cross-platform UI frameworks. Yeah, it's just much simpler. Yeah, for example, what example can I give you? It's much easier to speak in your own native language. Yeah, to communicate and get what you want compared to speaking in, for example, if your native language is Malay, and yeah, it's much easier to express and communicate and get what you want in your native language compared to say English, for example. There's when you speak English, there's so much overhead, there's so much things to talk about, maybe sentence structure. Yeah, it will make it yeah, some people are not very conversed in English, yeah, and stuff like that. I hope the analogy is good, because I don't know what else to say for what kind of analogies to give. Yeah, any other question? Because after this it's all about the demo. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, sure.
Can I know, does the compose is a less boilerplate code, which means we have
Oh,
to rewrite the whole code?
definitely.
And
Definitely less code.
uh,
Definitely less boilerplate code, especially when you use Kotlin. Yeah, especially when you use Kotlin. If you use Java before, if you're experienced in Java development, uh, boilerplate is everywhere. But in Kotlin, it's less ceremonial, it's more pragmatic, it's more practical. Yeah, so it's less boilerplate code. And the components that you make are reusable. So yeah, like I said before, you can just put your components in a single file, and perhaps maybe just put that file in. Maybe you have another project, you can use that again. Yeah. So if you ever if your next Android project is Jetpack Compose. Yeah, that's a good question, by the way. Yeah, boilerplate code.
can I also know is it JPEG Compose is usable to other cross-platform code like Flutter, so I can
It's
combine Flutter and Jetpack Compose. And is it a first-class component for Flutter and Jetpack Compose?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's a native. It's exclusive for Android. But don't worry, you can still because you can still put Flutter components in an Android app. So you can mix Flutter and also Jetpack Compose in a single Android app, provided that you develop for an Android app. Yeah, it's not possible for iOS though, because I'm not sure. I'm not really experienced with Flutter, but you can use a Flutter component. If I'm not mistaken, you can use a Flutter component in a native Android app. Yeah. Or maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember. Yeah, but Jetpack Compose is exclusively Android. However, however, uh, however, if you want to use Kotlin for multi-platform stuff, you can check out Kotlin multi-platform (KMM), and also maybe check JetBrains Compose. Yeah, they in collaboration with Google, they also make their own declarative UI framework, the JetBrains Compose, so you can develop for desktop, web apps, yeah, and stuff.
Can you repeat the JetBrain Compose and Kotlin?
Yeah, if for example, if you still want to use this compose stuff, there is another alternative UI framework called JetBrains Compose, JetBrains. JetBrains. They made it in collaboration with Google. Yeah. So you can write desktop apps, and desktop apps. What else? Yeah, web apps, mobile apps. Yeah, I think it's possible through the Kotlin multi-platform. Yeah, the Kotlin multi-platform framework (KMM). If I'm not mistaken, yeah, because I've looked into JetBrains Compose before because I want to do desktop apps.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Yeah. Maybe I should just show you the thing that I'm talking about. Uh so stop presenting and maybe show tab. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, for now it's a Compose multi-platform. It's not for mobile. I'm sorry, but it's based on the Jetpack Compose, so you can write desktop apps and web apps. Yeah, for example, if you can't afford to what do you call it? Maybe develop for iOS. Some people don't have a Mac or maybe an iPhone, so you can use Jetpack Compose to develop a web app instead using Kotlin. Yeah, and then you also have the Kotlin multi-platform. Yeah, Kotlin multi-platform mobile. Yeah, you can check it out if you're interested. Um, what? Yeah, it's over both Android and iOS application. I'm not sure if Compose is available in the name. I'm not really sure, but if you still want to use Compose, you can use JetBrains Compose, the Compose multi-platform. Yeah, and use web apps and develop web apps instead. Yeah. Any other questions before we start? If there's no questions, let's get into building. Yeah, let's get into some basics. Yeah, hands-on basics of Jetpack Compose. So I'm going to present my entire screen. Uh, this thing is a bit close. Okay, so Uh, to do, we can open Android Studio. We open Android Studio. Oh yeah. So this is the app I made. So I'm gonna do it. Make it again. So you just go to File. You open Android Studio. File or create a new project. Why is it stuck? Okay, you go File and New, and then you click New Project, and then you select Empty Compose Activity. You click Next, and let's see. Compose Workshop as the name, and the minimum SDK means that the minimum Android version that you have to develop for is Android 5. So if you want to develop for let's say gingerbread, you might not be able to use Jetpack Compose. So we're going to aim for Android 5.0, and then click finish.
Brother, can I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
Do we need to install extension for the Compose? Because I see the Compose is like a new option for what you selected. Is it as an extension for Android?
You can just update your Android Studio. You update your Android Studio, and if you want, if the easiest way, just maybe update the Android Studio. Yeah, and then I think it's included. I think it's included in the newest version.
Yes, in Bumblebee. Yes, the new one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you want to, for example, if you haven't updated your Android Studio, which I think you should update, you can just you have to go to the official documentation and download some of these packages. Gradle, you go to Gradle scripts, build Gradle, and then this thing that you might need, which is this Compose stuff, Android X Compose UI, Material Compose UI, and stuff. All the packages that is needed to make to use Jetpack Compose. Or you can just update Android Studio, whichever is easier for you. And see, I want to use an emulator. So let's run the app first. You see, when we create a new Jetpack Compose project, it already has a template. So it has a simple function that displays a text, and the text is hello, whatever name you pass. For example, for this, it's hello Android. Yeah. So it takes some time to build because my computer is not really that fast. We just wait a few minutes for Gradle to build the application and then install directly in the emulator. You can use your phone. For example, here's my phone, the Samsung SMA520F. Yeah, if you don't have a computer powerful enough to run the emulator, you can use your phone. And here you go, and it says hello Android. So for example, if I change it, uh, maybe hello Kotlin, I guess. Hello Jetpack Compose. Sometimes when you change um, the parameters, it will update itself. But at other times, you have to rebuild your app, restart and reinstall again into the emulator. So yeah, what if I want to add another text, a different text, and I want to use it multiple times. So we just create a composable component. So we write the annotation composable, and then we create our function using the function keyword. Maybe tests and with no arguments, and then the curly braces, and then we to define our function. and then we drop in our components, which is text. Let's say this is a workshop or Jetpack Compose. In order to use your component, you have to call it in your on create method. So on your on create method, you have this all super on create and stuff, and then the set content, surface, and yeah, after the surface and stuff, then you can begin to use your component, your UI component that you built using Jetpack Compose. And then I want to use workshop test. I just sorry, that's the wrong code. This one, workshop test, copy and paste. And then we have to rebuild it again. And here we have it. My question to the audience: does something look funny to you? Because the text unmistakably is on top of each other. So how do we arrange it in a neat fashion? So we have to use this thing called column. So you just write column, write it like a function. Oh yeah, it's you have to import, and then open and close your curly braces, and then you surround your code here, greeting and workshop text. Inside, you surround it with column, and then you rebuild it again. And Bob's your uncle. So as you can see, this column, what it does, it arranges your components like a stack. So it's from vertically from the top to the bottom, depending on in what order you call your function. But as a reminder, in Jetpack Compose, it is not guaranteed that the components will be drawn according to its order. But that's another topic. That's another topic. It's a bit complicated. It's on recomposition. But for now, we just focus on this one. So as you can see here, so we have this column, and then we put it inside the column our greetings and our workshop test, and it arranges this thing neatly. But what if you want to center the elements? So if you want to center the elements, so we just manipulate the column, because these components are inside this column. So what if whatever changes we do to this column will affect the elements inside it? So I want to center this thing, so we just do write horizontal alignment, and then click tab. It will give you this auto complete, and then alignment center horizontally. And then if we rebuild our app, we compile it and reinstall it, and here you go, it centers the app beautifully. So yeah, so that's the basics. So if you want to know more, you can go to, for example, just Google layout basic Jetpack Compose, and then you can learn about more on how to arrange your components, your composable functions. You have, for example, row, column, and stuff. Yeah, to make this UI component, and then it will teach you how to. You have column, you have row, and all that stuff. So for the demo, let's make an app. Let's make a simple app using Jetpack Compose. Let's make a counter app. When you click a button, it counts. It adds a number, and then it updates. each time we press the button. So what's my end result? So just remove this, and then all the stuff. But we keep we're keeping the the horizontal alignment because I want it to be centered, and so we create our own function, composable function counter, and then accept no arguments, and then what else? In the counter component, I want two things, which is a button, and a button that has a text. So, for example, just import this. A button and says count, I guess. Yeah. So you can because you can compose more intricate buttons. For example, you can add more text inside the button. I will show you later. We do this first, and then we have to put an on click. For now, it's gonna do nothing. And then I want a text. Oh, sorry. Just make it more it's self-documenting. So text. What else I want to put? Maybe 0 for now, and then just call the composable function, and we will see. And here you go. So we have a button, and inside it is the text count over here, and below it is the text number 0. But for now, when we click this thing, nothing happens. So we have to do something about that. So we have to add a variable. We call it var, the var keyword, and then we put count and give it a value of 0. And then replace this. We use a format string. For example, if you want to you have the $sign, and then for example, if you're familiar with C or C++, yeah, you have this format string, and then you put maybe the name of the variable if you want, or maybe curly braces. This what it does that it will display whatever values inside this variable as a string. As you can see, it updates, yeah, but not correctly. But don't worry. And then for the on click, when we want to, when we click the button, it will increment the values by 1. So we put count plus plus. So let's try again. Okay, so maybe we can try click it. It doesn't work. That's because we're missing another important thing. When you run a function, anything inside the function after running it will be gone. It will be discarded in the memory. It will be discarded from the memory. But we want to, and also when we click count, it will kind of the function will it will occur a state change. When the state change happens, maybe a variable, as in the data inside the function changes, it will try to redraw itself again. But however, since it does not save the value, because when you run the function and the function stops and the thing just gone, you will see that the value is not updated. It still remains at 0 because just call the function again and again with the value of 0. So we want a way to keep the values each time the function is called. So what should we do? So we have this in Android called the remember keyword. Just do like this. Remember, and then curly braces, the mutable state of, and give a default value, any value, and then just import whatever libraries that you want, and yeah, and you also have to change it. Uh, wait, I kind of I forgot how to do. Okay, yeah. What it does is that it gives some the compiler gives some memory by doing this. Remember the state of and then you give default value. It will give some memory to this function. So you whenever the function is called again to redraw the UI components and stuff, the value still remains whatever value that it has before. So let's try it again. Does it work? Wait, you have to rebuild because we do. I'm not sure if Jetpack Compose has hot reload, but it when in if you change the some strings, it does change simultaneously. So sometimes you don't. For example, if it's a small change in the string, you don't have to rebuild again. But if you add some code, then you have to rebuild and reinstall the app. So let's try again. Let's press count. And you see, oh, it happened. It works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's make it interesting. Let's make it interesting. Because you can manipulate. You can change how the how it looks. The text and button. You can change how it looks. You just go inside this what do you call it? Is it bracket or something? And then you put comma, and then you put some font size equals to maybe 30 dot sp. The sp is a unit of measurement, and then we rebuild again, run the app again, and the size of the font changes. 0 means nothing, maybe 100, I guess. Okay, let's make it interesting. For example, if the number is if the count with the data is more than 10, maybe we could add another UI component. So for example, if count is more equal to 10, curly braces, maybe, yeah, just for readability purposes, if count is more than equal to 10, and then we create the a new UI component, and maybe say it's a and whatever number is the count from 10 onwards. Yeah. So let's try again. Count 1, 2, press it, click it. 9, 10. So it's a 10. See, when the value of count is more than or equal to 10, it will what you call it will display or maybe draw the text component when you call it, and it goes on. Yeah, and then maybe we could do a reset. So we just add another button. Um, what I forgot. On click. On, oh my god, what happens? On click and count equals to 0. So it resets the and then we put some text in it. Equals to reset. We build the app. Yeah, and then let's see, when we put reset, the text here, it's whatever the number is also gone, because remember, where it when there's a state change or something, it will redraw the redraw some of the components inside the composable function. If you want to read more, you can. If you want to know more on how it works, in a deeper sense, you can go to documentation, to the Jetpack Compose documentation, and look for recomposition. Let's stylize a bit. Let's make it have some a bit, because I don't like these two buttons being close to each other. So maybe put some style in it, I guess. So we have this modifier. Yeah. Oh, see, modifier. And then we put this modifier. It modifies your components and how it looks, and then you just put the padding. Okay, I want it like to have like some separation. And dot dp. Yeah, this is the unit measurement also, dp. And when we rebuild the app again, and here you go. So padding, it means that it's at the top, uh, because it's padding. If you want it to be specifically at one side, then you have to use a different component like this. For example, 10.dp, and then yeah, if you look at this, it has horizontal, vertical. If you put two numbers, if you put two inputs, if you put four inputs, you can put it from start, top, and bottom. Yeah, you can refer to the documentation. For now, we just set it to 10. I want all sides to have some space, and you can see, yeah, and you can see how beautiful it looks. Maybe I can put something else. Maybe I can surround the numbers with a card component, which is such a fancy container, and then surround this thing. What happened? And rebuild the app again. Yeah, and see, and then you can see. I'm not sure if you can see or not. Uh, Maybe I could change the background color of the card. Background color to blue, I guess. Dot blue. For better visibility. And here you go. Yeah. So you have this card. Well, and then you might say, oh, it's not beautiful. No, you can just put some padding on it. Yeah, you can put some padding on the card. Modifier. Modifier dot padding. Then put some padding in it, maybe 10 dp, and then that's it. And rebuild the card again. And here you go. But what if I want to modify more? I want to add more modifiers. You can just press you can just put the dot operator, and then you can chain modifiers. For example, fill max width. Yeah, and then and see how it looks. You can just chain lots and lots of modifiers. And here you go. Yeah. And maybe because it's not centered, and because only the card is part of this column and not whatever is inside it, so we have to put another column, and maybe copy this thing, yeah, and maybe horizontal alignment, we put it in the middle, uh, center horizontally, and let's see how it looks. And there you go. Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of things that you can do to make your UI components the way you want. So if you want to know more, you have to look. You can just look in the documentation. For example, I want elevation, how much display off the ground, maybe like 3dp, I guess. Yeah. So here you go. This is how you make an app using Jetpack Compose. Before there's still a few minutes left. Let's say 30 minutes left. I just want to share you an app I made last night before the workshop. It's a app that calls the Jakim website, the eSolar website. But the data is already prepared for you. So let me just run this thing. So this is the code. It's all the codes in the app. Yeah, it's all Jetpack Compose code. Yeah, and so example, say hey hello Android. When I click submit, I will have all the play times for today. So I click. Let's try and click, and here you go. All of this is done using Jetpack Compose. I mean, how it's look. And I just have to process the JSON string that I got from the eSolar. It's a bit complicated. Yeah, I mean you have to do some HTTP requests, but I just use the pre-prepared data, the JSON, and then I just pass it, and then you get this, the data. And how it looks, you just use Compose code. Just use Jetpack Compose to make your code beautiful. I mean, to make your UI beautiful. I'm sorry, to make your UI beautiful. So here you go. So I'm just saying I'm just showing you what can be possible with Jetpack Compose. It's much easier, less code. See, it's not that long. It's only like I guess 53 minus 97, maybe 40 lines of code. Yeah, all of this. The UI code is only 40 lines. Yeah. Short, simple, and I should say decently beautiful, I guess. Yeah. So that's about it. We already covered some things, some background knowledge on the basics of JPEG Compose, and we already done some hands-on demo. So any question from the audience before we end? There's 10 minutes left. So any questions, welcome.
No, so far so great.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
How to make it responsive? For example, in tab is different layout, in phone probably different.
Wait. Let me I'm not sure. I'm also exploring this new UI framework. Yeah, so I'm not really sure how to size it correctly depending on the what do you call it, the what the yeah, depending on the display on the display you want. Yeah, you can just check. You can just go to the developer.android.com Jetpack Compose, and maybe there's something there. But for now, I only know let's call it just for mobile, for your phone. It may not be inside the Jetpack Compose documentation, but you can just go find it in the Android Jetpack libraries documentation. Yeah, to make it responsive. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sorry, I'm not be able to. I was unable to answer it properly.
It's okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? If you want to still leverage, like I said before, even still want when you still the simplicity, I guess, of Jetpack Compose, but for the desktop app, and maybe for the for websites, you can just go to JetBrains Compose, Google it, and then you see this Compose multi-platform framework, and then you can just get started. You can build it for desktop app and web app, and the best thing is it's production ready. Yeah, so it's already done. It's already past the beta phase, that you can just use it. It's already in version 1.10 now. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see here, it looks just the same like we did for Android. uh, so plan your if you plan your code well, you probably can just copy and paste. I mean, reuse your components between platforms. Also, what else? What else important? I'm not sure. Yeah. Keep the questions coming. I'll be happy to answer as much as I can. If you want to start today, you just go to the uh, just Google Android Studio and go to developer.android studio and then download the tools. Yeah, download Android Studio. It's quite big. Not really big. It's 872 megabytes. Yeah, so you download, install, and then start a new project and click on empty compose activity, and then you can start building your app using compose. So and you can see from the picture, this is the old way, like the not the old way. Yeah, this is before we have Jetpack Compose. You have to do it this way. And now we have Jetpack Compose. The possibilities are, much more. Industry is a good for me. It's a good IDE. Yeah, I use a lot of JetBrains IDE. I use Rider for C Sharp. I use IntelliJ for Java. Yeah. Any other questions? Just a recap. Yeah, if you want to save the state of your function, remember to use this. Remember to use this keyword by remember mutable state of, and then you can give any value, so that whenever the component re-renders or the function is called again, the state is saved. Yeah. Yeah, there's still 5 minutes more. If is there any more questions?
So before we end the event, I just wanted to ask everyone that those who wants star points, have they filled out their point? Sorry, have they filled out the form yet? Are they having any problem? If you have any problem, then you can feel free to text down through the chat. And please feel free to join our next event, that is tomorrow, and that is Model Viewer. We will be discussing how to embed 3D models into websites and play animations and play with shaders like in Game Engine. We will do all of that in tomorrow's event. So it will be a few lines of code like Jetpack Compose, but we will do it with HTML. So yeah, feel free to register for that event. You will find it in the GDSC IIUM website.
Yeah. Before you guys go, feel free to also join our Discord group. Yeah, in the link below. Yeah, for more activities, or maybe just to ask question, or maybe just to hang out. Yeah. Well, if there is no more question, I will say thank you for coming. I hope you learned something. Yeah. If you have any question more, you can go to the Discord group and ask question, and perhaps maybe check out the documentation on Jetpack Compose. Yeah. Thank you so much, and assalamualaikum, and a very good and good night.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome.